guys, it's Jess from Peace Love Books, and today I'm here with a fun video that I got because I watched Kayla from Books and Lala's video of Can We Trust Booktubers. She watched a bunch of people's If You Like This and You Like This video, and she read what they recommended, and I watched it, I loved it, but then I was like, I've done these videos, but they're all romance, and so she's never read any of them. All those videos talked about all the same kind of books, and she even guessed what they were recommending because it's like Fangirl and Eliza and Her Monsters, two very well-loved books on BookTube. They're like, and everybody recommended them for each other. So I wanted to recommend some romance books based on popular YA books. So if you're new to the romance genre and you enjoyed these YA books, you should check out these romance books. The first one I have for you is If You Liked To All the Boys I Loved Before by Jenny Han, a beloved book here on BookTube and in the real world. Ever since the Netflix adaptation came out, I think you will like The Deal by Elle Kennedy. Now, these seem pretty different, and I will preface and say that all the romances I'm recommending definitely have a lot more intimate scenes than the YA do. This is adult. YA typically doesn't have that many explicit scenes. Adult does. This one takes place in college, but what I was going for was a fake dating aspect with the good girl who kind of just like stays to herself, gets good grades, and the big man on campus, Noah Centino in this one, and Garrett Graham in this one. Now Garrett's actually a hockey player in this one. Noah's a lacrosse player. It's been a long time since I've read this, so I have more the movie in my head than the book, but it's fake dating that kind of turns into some real dating, and the guy's trying to show the girl how to be like in a popular guy's relationship kind of thing, and they're so good. And so if you really like this one, I think you would love The Deal. The next one I have for you is If You Liked The Sun Is Also Starred by Nicola Yoon. I think you would like The Bride Test by Helen Huang. Now these are very different books, but if you like the themes of this one, I really think you'll like this one, because in this one our main character figures out that her family's about to be deported, and she meets this guy and they spend the day together, and he's on his way to a college interview that he doesn't really want to go to because his parents are pressuring him to do something he doesn't want to do. And in this one our main character is from Ho Chi Minh City, and she comes to the US to try to get Kai to fall in love with her because the mother wants Kai to have a wife, and so she goes to Vietnam to find a bride for him and brings back Esme, and Esme actually has to make him fall in love with her in 3 months or else she's deported back to Vietnam, where she has a family, and they live in a very small one tiny room apartment, kind of like what our main character here lives in, and she's got to figure out how to stay in America and have a successful life for herself. And she's slowly falling for Kai. Kai actually has autism, and he's being pressured by his parents to find a wife, love people, and he doesn't think he can love. And so Kai and the main male character in this book are pretty different, but they have pressures from their families. But Kai's family is just super sweet and adorable, and I don't really remember too much about his family. I think they owned a beauty shop, possibly. But if you like the themes of trying to figure out how to deal with life when you might be deported and how to make a better life for yourself while falling in love, I think you would like The Bride Test. Next, I don't actually own a physical copy of the YA book. It's in my classroom at school because I read it and I wasn't going to reread it, so I put it in that classroom. But the YA book is Second Chance Summer by Morgan Matson. If you enjoyed that, I really think you would enjoy The Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker. In Second Chance Summer, at the beginning of the book, the girl figures out that her dad is dying, and they decide to go back to a beach house or lake house that they went to when she was younger, and she didn't leave on good terms with the people that they were with there, so she has to spend her summer kind of confronting her past mistakes and trying to confront their family issues. And in this one, our main character figures out that her father, who she hasn't spoken to since middle school, is dying. So she has to go to Alaska, where she was born and where she spent a little bit of her childhood, but her mother couldn't deal with being in Alaska and living there. So she moved back with her mother to the continental US, and she decides to go spend the summer with her dad. And there's a really good romance in here with a pilot that's just like her father, and she's dealing with the same kind of issues her mother was with her father, and it's so good. It's confronting your past, confronting your family, and your relationship with your family. This is so good, and I definitely recommend it if you like Second Chance Summer. Next, I actually have two books for this book that is beloved in the YA community, and one is of the same genre of adult, and then one is actually very different genre in the adult genre, and so that is If You Liked The Cruel Prince by Holly Black, you would like Rhapsodic by Laura Thalassa. Both of these are fantasy. They deal with fae. This one not so much as this one. Like, there's not another like really complex world that's fleshed out like this one is, but our main character is actually a siren in this one. So she is a human in this one, but she's a siren in this one, and they're both dealing with very brooding, angry, mean men who are fae, and they both enter into a bargain with them. You guys know what it is in this one, and it's a certain bargain in this one. That's why he's called the bargainer, and he has come to collect on his bargains in this one, and she learns a lot of his secrets he's hiding just like in this one, so definitely recommend them. If you've been following a few people here on BookTube, you know that a lot of them were reading Vicious by L.J. Shen, which has a very similar Carden romance that The Cruel Prince had. In Vicious, it's about Vicious, who is very, very mean to our main character because she is the help at his family's house, and so she lives in the like pool house with her parents, and he's more angry that he likes her, so he's super mean to her, and it flashes between the past when they're in high school and the present when they reconnect, and she is working, I think, as a waitress, and he is like this macho businessman, and he hires her to be his secretary or assistant or something, and it's still mean to her, but there's intense chemistry. It's insane. If you like that very hate to love macho man romance like there is in The Cruel Prince, this is your contemporary romance you would enjoy. The next one I believe is probably the most obvious one I came up with for this list, and that's if you like The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas, which I don't own a physical copy. Again, I have one in my classroom. I'm a high school English teacher. I don't know if I mentioned that, but if you liked The Hate You Give, I've not yet read it on the come up, so I can't say if this would correlate with that one. You definitely need to read Grip by Kennedy Ryan. Now there is Flow, which is the prequel novella that I would recommend reading when the main characters meet each other, but Grip is actually a rapper, and he is dealing with a lot of stigma against his race. He's trying to be successful and come out with new music, and his manager is actually Bristol, who he met in the novella, and we figure out why it didn't work out for them in the novella, and now it's them together here. They are of different races, and there are scenes that have to do with dealing with police brutality and judging someone based on their skin color, and Grip definitely discusses what it's like growing up as a black man in America. And so if you really enjoyed the racial injustices and issues that were discussed in The Hate You Give, you would love Grip, but there's also music in here, and there's just such a good romance, and it's super angsty. I think you would really enjoy this. And the last one I have, I feel like it's a little bit of a stretch, but I feel like if you like the components of this book, you'd like the other one. And that is, if you like Alex Approximately by Jen Bennett, which I absolutely loved, you would like Punk 57 by Penelope Douglas. Now, they both actually take place in high school. This is very much new adult though, because it is very explicit in the physical scenes between the characters, so keep that in mind if you're gonna read this. But in this one, we have our main character who was actually secretly writing these emails to this guy, and she ends up actually moving there and doesn't tell him that she moved there, and she doesn't know who he is, and she also starts working at this museum, and she has this very hateful, angsty relationship with another employee there, and they're kind of starting to like each other, but she still kind of has this person she's been writing to. In Punk 57, we have Ryan, who has been writing to Misha ever since they were little, but they've never met, they've never connected on social media, and then he stops writing to her, and then we figure out that Misha actually is a new student at her school, going by different names, so she doesn't know it's him, he knows it's her. They start a very angsty, hateful relationship, and as in they hate each other, but then there's this kind of attraction underneath there that they can't really fight, so they kind of start liking each other. But then there's a whole drama behind Ryan not knowing what happened to Misha and that whole thing, and they both deal with them realizing the kind of people they are, who they want to be, what kind of friends they are. And so it's a very thoughtful look at what it's like to be a teenager in high school, but this one definitely much more mature than this one, but they both kind of deal with the same plot line-ish. And that is my, if you like this YA book, you should try out this adult romance book. I hope you enjoy this. If you have any other kind of comparisons, let me know down below. I would love to hear. As always, thank you so much for watching, and have a good day. Bye.